Hey guys, Tony here of TL Audio Mixing and Mastering, coming to you with a quick one. Today we're going to be talking about using FG-Stress by Slate Digital as a reverb unit on our room track. So I've got these drums over here. All right, let me just play you what I've got just so you can hear where we're at. Cool, right? Sounds like nice and big, nice big room. Let me just take out that room track so you can hear what's being added. And how much of that is actually coming from the FG-Stress. It's pretty cool, huh? All right, so this is what I'm doing. So I'm basically using the attack knob on the FG-Stress to essentially lop off the transients of the incoming signal. Now, what does that mean? Drums have very strong transients, all right? A transient is basically the loudest part of the signal coming in, all right? So every time that a drum hits, it's going to have a really strong transient followed by a super quick decay and sustain. It's just going to kind of like just disappear pretty quickly. But that initial attack, that's your transient. Now, the way that sound works, the closer that a sound source is to you, the more you're going to hear the transients, right? But the further that it is from you, the less you're going to hear the transients. That's just the way that we hear things. That's the way sound works. So if you take a compressor and you essentially chop off all the transients by making the attack as fast as possible, you are then going to make your sound source sound further away. Sometimes you want this. And instead of always making your drums punchy by having a slow attack, which is what like a lot of like people working with metal will usually do, they'll just kind of like make the attack super slow so that you get more transients and then it kind of clamps down after the transient, so it's punchy. You can go the other way and just make it super fast and kind of turn your compressor into a reverb unit. So I'm just going to play around with this a little bit just so you can kind of hear what adjusting the attack knob is actually going to do. All right, I'm just going to solo the track and just work with the room. All right, so check this out. So at 0, this is actually going to be the fastest attack. So the compressor is going to react as soon as there's a signal coming in, and it's going to lop off those transients. And 10 is going to be the slowest attack, which is going to let more transients in, and you're going to notice that the drums are going to sound closer to you, therefore making the room sound smaller. So let's go from a big sound to a smaller sound. So that's a huge difference. I mean, of course, it depends on what it is that you're trying to do. If what you want is punchy, then go with something that's like, out of 10, it's going to be a much slower attack. But for this particular track, I wanted to make the drums sound bigger than life, just make them sound nice and, like they were recorded in a much bigger room than they probably were recorded in. So I decided to go with a slower attack. I think it was somewhere between 3 and 4, but just for exaggeration purposes, we'll leave it at 0. Now, originally, I think when I was dialing this in, all right, there's a certain way that I go about doing this. And what it involves is essentially taking the ratio and making it as strong as possible. The nice thing about the FG-Stress is that it goes all the way down to 20 to 1. It's essentially limiting, but it's just for the purposes of kind of like, really hearing the compressor work. And then I start to kind of dial it back until it's at a point where it makes sense for the song. So check this out at 20 to 1. So it was at 6-1 that I kind of landed on. 2 would have been like too gentle. 20 is obviously overkill. 6-1 is just kind of nice. So yeah, I mean, I'm keeping it super short just because I kind of wanted to, open your mind to just a new way of using your compressor. There's so many things you can do with these things, and most mixing is going to be EQ and compression anyway. You just have to like figure out different ways of like working with them. That's it for today. All right. I'll definitely be putting out a video at some point, or maybe just like a series on how to use compressors in a bunch of different ways, and I'll let you guys know about that. In the meantime, subscribe. Definitely check out my other videos. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this one. And also hit me up on Facebook. If you look me up, it's TL Audio Mixing and Mastering on Facebook. I'm available for mixes. I'm available for consultations. If you just want to chat, just hit me up. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. Bye.